Beginning steps of color. And what I want you guys to realize is that color wheels exist for a reason. Now, I'm not a technical person. I totally hated the parts of classes where they made us sit down and paint all the little colors and the multiple versions and little squares. My brain said, I just want to paint. Now, backing up from that, I have found so many beginners get overwhelmed when I say, okay, let's just start painting a pair. And I'm going, ah. So we're going to go backwards and just do a couple little training. Most color wheels exist, and there's usually 6 to 12 colors in a standard color wheel. When you buy them at the store, they're daunting. They have sliding covers, and we're going, well, what does that mean? What is tertiary? What is shades? What is tint? So basically, I tore off the side that was confusing and just said, okay, these are the color wheels. Colors exist, and they make each other look good. So just like a really good husband and wife team, red poppies look tremendous on a green background. Montana wheat fields look tremendous with a lovely blue sky. Things like that. They work together as a team, and they work across the color wheel together. Just like husbands and wives, when we stand next to each other, we make each other look really good. When we mix together and get in each other's way, we create poo-poo. This can go on video, right? Poo-poo. So this one, neutral colors, browns, tans, grays are what happens when you mix complementary colors. It doesn't matter what set you create, you'll get a neutral. It might be a cool neutral or a warm neutral. It might kind of be too brown or too gray. But generally speaking, that mud version of colors that's created with complements is what most paintings are actually made of. They might be purplier or greener, but they rarely do have a total painting that's just simply all the colors on the outside of the color wheel were loud and bright. So at this point, what I wanted to show you, I have found as beginners get stuck and they'll try to look at the color wheel, and they'll try to look at their palette, look at the color wheel, look at the palette, and decide what to do. I've set up the palettes in a color wheel situation so that it's already written down right here, the answers. So if you're sitting there painting the red poppies and you're going, oh my, what do I do to make my red poppy look good? I put it next to something green. My red poppy is just too loud and obnoxious. I want it to tone it back a little bit. You mix it with a little bit of the green. So that's the complementaries and what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to have us do a color wheel so that you have one to look at right next to you, but also to give you a chance to get your brush wet, get it in the paint, and see what's too much water, oops, what's too much paint. Ooh, this is a really dry surface. I don't like the way this reacts, but oh, I really like the gessoed surface that you offered us instead. So I want you to be experimental and test drive, because it's through your arm, out your brain, out your arm, that you're going to learn, oh, hey, I know I like this much fluidity to my paint, or gee, I'm a watercolorist, I want mine to be very thin and watercolor-like. Or if you came from an oil color background, oil paint, you like it thick and sticky. So there's different types of paint styles out there. So as we paint today, we're going to be thinking about the fact that the basic colors, if we had to go live on that island out there in the middle of nowhere, are the same colors that your computer printer at home uses. Magenta, cyan, which is the blue, and yellow. Those three colors that are in your ink cartridge are the same three colors that make up a good color wheel. Now, in the past, red has been told as a primary color. But as a kid, if you ever taken your tomato red color and you mix it with the blue and you get kind of eggplant purple, you never got a true, really nice purple. It's because you were using a red that had yellow in it. If you'd gone over to the magenta side and mixed that with the blue, it would have been of a cleaner purple kind of color. So, 20 years ago, if I had said red is not a primary, magenta is, you would have said, no. Now that we all have color printers and have had to pay $80 for that stupid little cartridge, we go, yeah. So those three colors are the basic colors. If you had to go live on an island, you could buy those three colors with black and white. And you could survive painting. So as we paint today, and I've got your color wheels laid out there, I'm going to have you notice that when you get to the red/magenta department, I've written R/magenta. I would like you to choose kind of a magenta red. So at this point right now, I'd like you to go ahead and pull out your white boards with the circles on them. And I'm going to quickly draw. In an effort to make life go fast today, I pre-drew them up. If you ever need to know how to do another one, it's a circle. You divide it in fourths, and then you divide each of those fourths into thirds. That gives you your 12 equal spots. So up here in your, say, orange, yellow department, we're going to start with the lightest of colors. You can take a small brush or a large one, whichever you want to feel comfortable with. I'd say don't go with a huge, 1-inch brush. But what we are going to do is we are going to put a solid amount of color out here on just this outside edge. And we're going to start with our lightest of colors, which is the yellow. So start with your yellow, get a little bit of water on your brush, a little bit of paint, and just fill it in. My goal for you today is to be okay with seeing lots of brush strokes. Go over the edge, see if it covers the pencil line below it. I would prefer that you don't do perfectly executed, filled in the box, nothing showing. If you don't show brush marks, I'm going to make you drink vodka. How's that for an answer? Yes, ma'am.
Great. So you want us to
So this point right now, I want you to take your yellow and paint a big old chunk of it right there on that outside edge. Then I want you to go grab some white and blend it with it and see how long and how much white it takes for you to get all the way down to the point where there's no color in the center. It goes from a solid chunk of yellow to white. So you get to blow on yours for a minute, get it dry, and go paint white over the top and blend it with your yellow and see if you can kind of get a variety of shades. My goal for you right now is to see what a solid chunk of color looks like, and then how long and how much paint it takes to get it all the way back to white. You can go ahead and paint over the edges of the pencil lines, and what you'll notice is that the more white you add to your colors, the more opaque it becomes and does hide the lines underneath it. Whereas maybe just that straight yellow didn't hide the lines underneath it. So go pick orange next and work your way around your palette. And when you get to the red department, choose the pinkier of the magenta red on your palette. For those of you who have the palette I have laid out for you, it's this one over here. Not the fluorescent pink, but the one that's kind of over here. And the reason there's a big old ugly chunk of dark colors, I'm supposed to come around and give you a little bit of each of those colors, of this color in your palette for those that didn't get it, because I forgot to load that color up in some of your palettes. But this color wheel situation will help you see that the solid value of the colors on the outside edge, and then work your way towards the white in the center, just like the white is here in our center.
What was your technique with the white? Did you start at the
Just
top?
smear it right in there and leave some of the dark yellow on the outside edge. Choose the orange that's right next to the yellow. And when you get to the red, choose the magenta color that's over here on the other side of your palette. That's the first one right next to the darker. And on one of your colors, instead of adding white, try adding water to it and see if you can get it all the way down to 0. See what happens without using white opaque paint. You can actually get all the way down to white just by using water. And I'm going to put my palette down here. So most of the time, if you look at a color wheel, the greens that are there are usually a viridian, kind of a Kelly green. There's nothing on the planet that's that color green. You literally have to mix something into it to ever use that color. So instead of waste my time wiping down the Kelly or viridian greens, I have very earthy tone greens over here, which might not look great on your color wheel. And if you say, but I really want it to look like that color wheel right there, if you were to take yellow and a little bit of that phthalo turquoise over there, you can get that really pretty obnoxious green that doesn't exist anywhere on the face of the earth except a color wheel. So yellow and the turquoise over here will get you a green that might look more like a color wheel green.
What's MR, Jennifer?
Say again?
MR, what's MR?
Red or magenta. So
Red
at this
or
point, I'm
magenta.
going to have you do this guy right here first.
Okay.
Stick him in that spot. As we paint on this piece of board, what's happening is your brain is literally learning, oh, hey, this is what thick paint is. I don't like it that thick. I want some water. Oop, this is too wet. I need to add more paint. This is transparent. Wow, I can see the lines right through this paint. I don't like that. You can add a little bit of white to your paint to make it opaque. So without stressing you out, making you paint a perfect little pear or a wine bottle, your brain is figuring out, okay, this is the texture of this paint. The palettes that you are currently using are the Masterson's Stay Wet palettes. And what they are is a piece of paper in a Tupperware box with a 1/4-inch sponge underneath. That sponge keeps your paint wet throughout the whole day. What I have found with beginning students is that most of the time they're struggling with a paper plate loaded with paint. The paper plate is sucking the moisture out of their paint and leaving solid chunks of hard product that they can't use the rest of the day. So with that wet surface, your paint stays wet all day long. When I'm painting, I like to have a paper towel in my hand to erase something. So in my non-painting hand, I like to have a piece of paper towel. That's why there's chunks there for you. I also like to wipe off my brush if I've loaded it with water and it's like, oh, I have all this water, what do I do with it? Just wipe it on your wad of paper towels to get the water off of your brush so that you can control the amount of water and paint that you use. So that's why there's a wad of paper towels there for you to use, both to erase something you don't like, as well as just wipe your brushes and keep them semi-dry. So go ahead and work your way around that color wheel. We got blue, purple, and green to finish off. And when you're done with those, I'm going to have you guys paint the colors that are in between those. They don't get to leave their quadrant. If you're going to mix colors with them, try to keep the dark colors on this side. If later on when you do mix across the palette and you want to get some neutral colors, take your light colors over to the dark side. Do not put your dark colors over there, because once you get phthalo blue over there on the other side, it does not play well with others. It literally takes over, doesn't share. It's obnoxious and controlling. So add white to your darker colors to get the in-between shades going on here. Some of you guys may have gotten some palettes already messed up and dirtied up. I found last week that I had students that were afraid to make a mess out of their palette. They were like just keeping the little colors in their little compartments. Okay guys, if yours doesn't look like this by the end of the 2 days, you haven't done your homework. The sponge will keep this paint wet for about 6 months as long as you lock the lid down. Unfortunately, so do all the molds and the mildews around here. So I do squirt a little bit of Clorox water in the sponge every once in a while just to keep the mold from taking over. But eventually the molds do take over and you just throw the sponge out and go get a new one. These are available at art stores. You can buy the box, the sponge, and the paper separately to refill it, or you can, when you buy it the first time through at Tri-D Art Store, it has everything in the box ready to go. I want you guys to work on filling in the spaces in between your color wheels. So if you have a green and you got a yellow, mix the color in between and see what you come up with. And then from there, I would like you guys to pick one of the colors. Let's just say I love red, so you got red over here. And I want you to go from red to kind of a watery, washed out version of red. And then I want you to go find your complementary color, green. Start the green on one side and work your way and discover what kind of brown you make. Try making a little white added to it. Wow, I got taupe. I didn't know how to make taupe. Ooh, if I add something else to it, it can be purple. So take some complementary colors, blend them together to get your dirty browns and such. Wait there. Yellow and blue.
And what blue is that? What blue is that?
The darkest of the blues on the palette is phthalo blue. It is the darkest of blues out there.
Oh, I think I just.
If you add white to it, you can get all 75 versions of blue that you can buy in tubes at Center Colors.
Oh, that's going brown.
So at this point right now, take, whether you do it on your color wheel circle or on your pieces of paper that are extra garbage ones, pick 2 complementary colors, whether it's like blue to orange, put the colors on here and kind of blend them towards the middle and see what kind of browns you get. Right. When you mix the two together, so you take two complementary colors, no matter what, and work their way and see what happens when you
So
blend
you
them.
have to take one of these.
Yeah.
But your board must have let you do that one.
Flip the board over or use your extra piece of highly expensive watercolor paper that oh wow. There you go.
I'm starting to do it on my paper towel.
Wait, no joke, sometimes your paper towels look better than your paper.
Yeah.
Okay. You save those and then you collage them and you